In today's video, I'm going to bring you 5 cases of people who've gone missing in 2022.
Madalina Cojocari. The case of 11-year-old Madalina Cojocari from North Carolina has gained both national and international attention. Madalina was last seen before Thanksgiving break.
She can be seen on video footage at around 5 p.m. on November 21st, 2022, getting off the school bus at her home.
But her parents then waited 3 whole weeks before reporting her missing. What happened during those 3 weeks is a question that still does not have an answer, and Madalina is nowhere to be found.
Most of what is known about this case comes from court records, some of which raise more questions than answers.
Both of Madalina's parents, Diana Cojocari and Christopher Pallmeyer, are now in jail facing charges, although these charges are not for anything that specifically happened to Madalina. In North Carolina, parents and guardians are required to report the disappearance of their child in a timely manner. As for Diana Cojocari and Christopher Pallmeyer, by the time they finally did report that Madalina had disappeared, it was weeks later, and only after her school started asking questions about her whereabouts. Court records indicate that a counselor and school resource officer made attempts to reach Madalina's mother, and that they even dropped by her home after Madalina had been absent for more than 10 days.
On December 15th, Diana showed up at the school without her daughter, saying that Madalina had gone missing.
Christopher and Diana eventually did go before the court on their charges. The court records indicate that after the video on the school bus on November 21st, Madalina's parents stated that she was still around. But according to the arrest sheets for both Christopher and Diana, their stories regarding when they both last saw their daughter didn't quite match up. While Christopher stated he last saw Madalina 1 week before she went missing, Diana said she last saw her daughter on November 23rd, the same night her and her husband had an argument.
One thing is for sure, no one saw Madalina after that date on November 21st.
Christopher reportedly took a brief trip to Michigan during this time, and sometime between the 3-week span when Madalina was last seen and when she was reported missing, Diana also reportedly took a trip, but she went to the mountains of western North Carolina. Not much is known about the specifics of either of these trips, but when Christopher and Diana were together after Madalina went missing, each were reportedly asking the other where their daughter was.
As a parent, how do you even leave your home when you don't even know where your child is or who she is with?
The arrest report for Diana Cojocari said she had been urged by her family to go to the police, but she didn't listen, reportedly because she didn't want to cause any issues with her husband, despite her saying that she feared for her family's safety. In January, Diana Cojocari and Christopher Pallmeyer each were indicted by a grand jury on the charge of failing to report the disappearance of a child to law enforcement. The prosecutors said the parents had violated Kaylee's law.
This law was created after the case of Casey Anthony, whose 2-year-old daughter Kaylee was killed in Florida in 2008. The law makes it a felony for a parent or caretaker to knowingly or wantonly fails to report the disappearance of a child to law enforcement.
Madalina is described as a white, 90-pound female and has brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen wearing jeans, pink, purple, and white Adidas shoes, and a white t-shirt and jacket. Anyone with information about her whereabouts can reach the Cornelius Police Department at 704-892-1363. Tips can also be submitted to the Federal Bureau of Investigation at tips.fbi.gov. Brandon Abbett. 1 year ago, Brandon Abbett, age 15, went missing from his home in Pleasant Hill, California, sometime between 10 p.m. on January 16th and 9 a.m. on January 17th, 2022. Authorities say he has not been seen or heard from since. Abbett is described as Caucasian. He is 5 foot 6 inches tall, has brown hair, and weighs about 107 pounds. He also has braces on his upper and lower teeth.
Brandon's father and sister say that if Brandon was a 10-year-old girl, his disappearance may have got more attention.
Brandon was 15, a freshman at Pleasant Hills College Park High School. On the evening of January 16, 2022, his family says he went out of his bedroom window late at night and disappeared. Brandon's mother, Dawn, lives in Redding, California, which is about 3 hours away. But his father, Andrew, and sister Jade immediately started canvassing their neighborhood.
In the following months, Andrew and Jade hung flyers all over town and pled with police to take Brandon's disappearance seriously.
After pleading with them, the police then tore apart their house, searching for evidence, which Andrew said he welcomed. They also talked to neighbors to see if there was any surveillance footage of Brandon from that night, but there wasn't. Andrew admitted, "It's not the typical missing child case that gets attention."
Brandon was quiet and had a small group of friends, at an age where some rebellion is expected from teenage boys.
Brandon's mother and father divorced years ago, and both Brandon and his sister Jade continued to live with their father. Pleasant Hill Police Detective Sergeant Gardner said, "We are actively working with the FBI, following up on all potential leads. Numerous search warrants have been authored in hopes of finding more information on Brandon's whereabouts. This is still very much an active investigation." Brandon's mother, Dawn, has been fairly cooperative with our investigation, Gardner said. A search of her property was conducted by investigators early on. She is not a listed suspect at this time. Jade's contact with her mother already stopped. Andrew hasn't spoken with his ex-wife since he called her the morning he found Brandon missing. He said his ex-wife denied knowing Brandon's whereabouts and blamed the episode on drama in the father's household.
According to Andrew and Jade, Brandon's mother never came down from Redding to help distribute flyers or assist in their search.
Andrew stated that some of the media outlets showed up to do stories about his son's disappearance, only to pack up and leave once they heard the circumstances. They figure there's another parent involved, and they don't want to get in the middle of a parental thing, Andrew said. Even if he went willingly, he's underage. It's just there is a different level of sensationalism.
Brandon's room remains the same as when he left,
with his bed, electric drum set, and bookshelves with baseball trophies and books. Gaming magazine covers still hang from the wall, and an unopened birthday present and a celebratory balloon still sit by his desk. He turned 16 on January 4th, 2023.
The window screen he pushed out when he left is still bent. The family usually makes a point of avoiding the room.
Brandon's father, Andrew Abbett, provided the following statement on behalf of his family. "Brandon's a son, a brother, a friend, a grandson, and a nephew. He means the world to us, and so much to the people who know him. Brandon's upbeat presence impacts so many of us who are around him in a positive way. And without him around, it's been very difficult for us to carry on with our everyday lives without knowing if he's okay and safe. We hope there is someone out there who may know something about where Brandon is, even if it seems small and insignificant. Please do not hesitate to reach out to the FBI and report anything you may know. No detail is too small to be reported. Brandon's family and friends miss him very much and want nothing but his safe return home.
Brandon, if you're seeing this, we love and miss you dearly. So if you can reach out and contact us, please do. We just want to make sure you're safe. Love, your family."
Anyone with information regarding the whereabouts of Brandon is asked to call the FBI's San Francisco field office at 415-553-7400 or the Pleasant Hill Police Department at 925-288-4600. You can submit a tip online and remain anonymous at tips.fbi.gov. Jason Lirrell. Jason Lirrell was last seen between the area of Caps Ranches Road in Benton County, Arkansas, and County Road 1101 in Madison County, Arkansas, around January 25, 2022.
After Jason's disappearance, some of his belongings were recovered by law enforcement in the following locations:
Fayetteville, Arkansas, Benton County, Arkansas, Madison County, Arkansas, and Eagle Rock, Missouri. Jason was last spoken with on January 25th, 2022. He was texting his sister, Sarah Wood, but has not been seen or heard from since. His phone last pinged on January 27th, 2022, in Madison County, Arkansas. This lead did not turn up any trace of Jason, and his phone was not found. His car was found in the Northwest Arkansas Mall parking lot. His car keys were found at an undisclosed location. His motorcycle was also found at a third location, at a residence in Madison County. His family now has both vehicles in their possession.
His sister Sarah said Jason battled a drug addiction, and she fears that he relapsed around the time of his disappearance.
His nephew stated, throughout the month of January, he came upon some very dark times, and unfortunately, I think he turned back to some things that were in Madison County. Some people, perhaps, maybe he shouldn't have been around. The sheriff's office says one of Jason's friends reported he was last seen down a road in the Chanis Corner area in Huntsville, Arkansas. Jason is 42 years old. He was 41 when he was last seen. He is described to be between 5'6" and 5'7" tall, between 160 and 170 pounds. He has brown hair and blue eyes. Jason goes by the nickname Jay. He was last seen wearing blue jeans, a white t-shirt, and tan-styled army boots. He also has a tattoo of the words Cross 1-11-12 on his right forearm, and a tattoo of an iron cross on the side of his right bicep. Police are actively investigating this case and are withholding some information to maintain the integrity of the case.
His sister Sarah stated that he's a great father and a great brother, and he deserves to be found.
The sheriff's office stated they have identified several persons of interest. They are also still waiting for results from the crime lab, which investigators say could take years.
Sarah Wood is offering a $10,000 reward for anyone who finds her brother.
The FBI is also offering a reward of up to $30,000 for information leading to the location and recovery of Jason. If you have any information as to where Jason Lyrrell could be, call the Madison County Sheriff's Office at 479-738-2320. You can also submit a tip online at tips.fbi.gov. Kainaloo Higbee. 41-year-old Kainaloo Higbee was last seen on May 7, 2022, at his mother's house in Lahaina, Maui, Hawaii.
Kainaloo, also known as Kai, was born in Maui. His mother was Hawaiian, and his father was Caucasian and a California native.
At age 7, Kai, his twin brother, and younger sister moved to live with his father in Huntington Beach, California, following his parents' divorce. He eventually moved back to Hawaii when he was a teenager, but still remained close to his family in California. In 2003, Kai met his future wife, Samantha, and the couple married 2 years later. They settled in Maui, where they raised their 3 children. At the time of his disappearance, he was living with his family in a small town in Maui.
He worked as a landscaper, often on local properties, where he was appreciated and adored by property residents.
Described as a family man, Kai was very close with his kids. He regularly took them out on excursions and often spent time with them spearfishing, hiking, and hunting.
Although Kai has a loving family, not all aspects of his life are as ideal.
According to his family, Kai had a history of substance abuse, but was clean for about 3 months before his disappearance. On May 6, 2022, Kai had reportedly fell off the wagon and was told by his wife to leave their home, as she didn't want him to be seen by their children in that condition. The next day, he went to his mother's house, about 45 minutes away. His family stated this is where he usually went to sober up after using.
At 11:30 p.m. on May 7th, Kai was last seen by his mother, when he gave her his cell phone and a hug and told her Happy Mother's Day before he left in his truck.
He never returned home and hasn't been heard from since. On May 12, 2022, his wife Samantha filed a missing persons report with the Maui Police Department when she couldn't contact him. That same day, Kai's vehicle, a white Toyota Tacoma truck, was found abandoned in the parking garage of Sunset Cafe, a local restaurant on Front Street near the Lahaina Harbor in downtown Lahaina, Maui, Hawaii. The vehicle was towed after it was observed unattended on Front Street between May 8th and May 12th. Kai's wallet, driver's license, debit cards, credit cards, and other personal belongings were found sitting in the seat of the unlocked truck. According to Samantha, Kai abandoning the truck was highly out of character. She said he was very proud of his truck because of how hard he worked to purchase it. Samantha admitted Kai would sometimes leave for a few days, but she emphasized he's never been gone for this long. She said, "He stays away until he sobers up. That's like, the most, 3 days." Samantha said Kai was excited to see his oldest son graduate high school on May 19th. "We couldn't wait for his graduation," Samantha said. "I mean, he wouldn't have missed it." But Kai did miss his son's graduation. It has now been 9 months since he's been seen. Samantha stated that she is extremely frustrated with how the investigation into her husband's disappearance is going. "I feel like they brushed me off," Samantha said. She added that investigating officers told her that Kai was probably just out doing tons and tons of drugs. "It was upsetting," Samantha said. "He's a Hawaiian. He's a dad." She believes the comments made by the police have been heartless. Samantha said that Kai has had a few run-ins with the law, and she thinks because of his criminal past, investigators are treating the case with disregard. "Something happened to him," Samantha said. "He made bad choices, but he is a good person." Samantha has stated that she and the family are continuing the search on their own. They have put up missing persons posters around Maui, and Samantha says she is trying to hire a private investigator to help bring her husband and her children's father home. "My oldest one, he doesn't even want to sleep in his own room," Samantha said. "He has a little setup in the living room, waiting for his dad to come home." Kai is 6 foot tall, weighing 180 pounds, and has brown hair and brown eyes. He has a significant number of traditional Hawaiian tattoos on his legs, arms, chest, and back, as well as his wife's name, Sammy, tattooed on his stomach. It is important to note that Kai and his twin brother are identical, so the brothers are often mistaken for one another. Kai was last seen wearing dark-colored board shorts and a white shirt. Anyone with information regarding Kainalou Higbee is asked to contact the Maui Police Department's non-emergency number at 808-244-6400. You can also submit a tip at tips.fbi.gov. Sierra Breland. Sierra Breland of Carmel, Indiana, has been missing since February 24th, 2022.
Her last known location was in Johns Creek, Georgia, where she was visiting family with her husband Xavier, their 5-month-old son Jackson, and their dog Baker during the week of February 20th.
For the first 2 days, the family stayed at Sierra's parents' house in Cleveland, Georgia, before going to visit Xavier's mother, who lived about an hour away in a house on Highgate Manor Court in Johns Creek. On February 21st, 2022, Sierra sent a text message to her father around 8:17 p.m., saying she planned to be back at their house the next morning. Sierra never showed up at her father's house on February 22nd, and said she was feeling a little sick when he contacted her.
Sierra stopped responding that day and hasn't been seen or heard from since.
The next day, the couple was supposed to head back to Indiana. Her husband reported her missing on February 26, 2022, to the Carmel Police Department. The police initially released information that day asking the public for help in locating her. At the time, investigators stated that she was last seen in Carmel, where she and her family lived.
As of March 21st, 2022, investigators say there is no evidence that Sierra even returned home to Indiana after her family trip.
Her last known location was in Johns Creek on the Highgate Manor Court on February 24th at 7:17 p.m. On February 26th, Xavier Breland called the Carmel Police Department. He told officers he had last seen Sierra around 10 p.m. on February 25th, walking to the store in Carmel, Indiana,
wearing a black top and purple shorts in temperatures that were in the mid to upper 20s.
Family members stated that police told them she never arrived at the store, and there was no surveillance video of her entering the store. The family is also concerned because her personal phone, her work phone, and a burner phone were all left behind, along with her ID, credit cards, and her 5-month-old son. Her family said she had a burner phone to contact them in case of an emergency.
A few days after the report was filed, Xavier was named a person of interest in his wife's disappearance and was arrested on an unrelated charge.
Police discovered he had an outstanding warrant for aggravated stalking. He was extradited back to Georgia to face those charges. He was accused of putting a tracker inside a stuffed animal belonging to his daughter with the intention of tracking the girl's mother, his ex-wife. The case stemmed from a custody battle between the two. In August 2022, he was cleared of those charges by a jury. According to online jail records, he was then taken into custody in Fulton County on contempt of court charges. Law enforcement officers have not yet ruled out foul play in her disappearance, and Xavier has officially been named as a person of interest in the case.
About 2 weeks after she went missing, Sierra's family handed out flyers and searched near her last known location in Johns Creek.
People from Florida, Tennessee, and South Carolina drove to Georgia to help. Family members stated that her dog Baker was Sierra's true love and best friend before giving birth to her son. They said she would have never have left Jackson and Baker behind. Investigators got a hold of a video in March 2022, which shows Xavier Breland telling his children that Sierra will not be coming home because she had been kidnapped.
This contradicts what he told Carmel police about his wife's disappearance.
Sierra's father said he just creates a different story for everybody he's talking to. Her family stated that they remain adamant that he knows what happened to her and that he is the only one who can give them the answers they need to find closure and finally let Sierra rest in peace. The FBI is offering a reward of up to $10,000 for information leading to the whereabouts of Sierra Breland. The FBI is supporting the Johns Creek Police Department and the Carmel Police Department with this investigation. Anyone with information is asked to call the Johns Creek Police tip line at 678-474-1610 or the Carmel Police Department at 317-571-2500. Anyone with information can also call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI or visit tips.fbi.gov.
Thanks so much for watching my video. Please subscribe if you want to ride around with me and hear more missing persons cases. Here's another video to check out in case you missed it, and here's a playlist of all of my videos.